right? This is a space I am printing, and each space is separated by again separate value. I mean space here. After printing one space, there should be another gap here. So understand this logic. I'll explain once again. Anything. So if this condition is false, so what we will do is we will print that n value, whatever I have starting value I've taken here, n is in end with space. Right. So initially what we have taken for I in range 1 to row, num is 1, right? For j in range, the row count going in the decreasing order, because we have to print as many 5 minus 1 every time. We have to reduce and add that many spaces, right? So if j is greater than I, and we are printing the spaces, right? So this is one logic. So see, it is always printing 1 1. So suppose else condition, if you are printing, so you should move to the next character, right? I mean, after printing 1, the next value that should be printed is 2. So every time, suppose after 1, 2 should be printed, after 2, 3 should be printed, right? So num plus 1, which is mandatory, we have to do. Then we go back to the outer for loop and add new space for each thing. So now at least we are getting in this direction, but it is not incrementing. So tell me, where is the problem in this code? Now understand, yes, so this should be n, correct. So now understand the logic. So what is this condition is doing here? Initially, what is j value? Anyone tell me what is initially j value? J is equal to 5, right? So j is greater than, what is initial I value? I value is 1, condition is true. So 5 is greater than 1, condition is true. So what we are printing, we're just printing the space. So one space we printed. Then what happens? We go back to the for loop, j gets decremented, that is minus 1. So j becomes 4. Again, 4 is greater than 1, add one space. Similarly, 3 is greater than 1, add one space. 2 is greater than 1, add one space. Then finally, 1 is not greater than 1, right? So this condition is false. So once this condition becomes false, so we are going to else and printing that n value, right? So what is the n value we are printing? First row, we are printing 1. Then immediately we're incrementing that n to 2. Now when we go back to the for loop, this j is reaching 0, right? So 0 is not greater than 0. This condition becomes false, correct? So we go back to the outer for loop. Now I becomes 2. I becomes 2. Again, we restart j from 5. So similarly, we are doing 5 is greater than 2, condition is true. We add one space. 4 is greater than 2, condition is true. We add another space. 3 is greater than 2, condition is true. We add another space here, correct? Then 2 is not greater than 2, so we start printing the n value. So n again, it is restarted with the new for loop, inner for loop. N is again reset to 1, right? See, every time we are resetting the 1. Why? Because for each row, it should start printing from 1, correct? So here, this is the same question. We need to understand with a little bit of, extra condition. What is that? Before printing, add the extra spaces. So all that you need to think about is the logic. So who is the main logic here? This condition, if j is greater than I. So why this j is greater than I, we are checking. So first value that I want to print is 1, right? So for the first row, as long as this j value, which the total number of rows, is greater than the first row, we have to keep on adding the spaces here, right? Once you reach the dead end, then print the actual value. So similarly, 5 is greater than 2, add 3 spaces, then 5 is greater than 3, add 2 spaces. So in that way, we are printing the spaces and then actually printing the values. So you need to think about logic. So you can't directly start solving. So what is the best approach? You can analyze yourself. Then whatever the method works for you, you can understand it and stick to that logic. So try to solve these kind of problems also. These are called as reverse, you know, triangle. Reverse triangle. Not reverse, in fact, right justified triangle. Reverse triangle, I'll give you one more example. So this is called as right justified number triangle. So generally 90% they'll ask left side only, but you should know the right justified triangles, how to do those logic also. So hope you understood what is this logic is doing and why we are starting n equal to 1 every time here, because for every row we have to start printing from 1. So when we go back to the outer for loop, the n should be reset to 1. So start printing from 1 and go in the incremented order. That's why we are doing here n plus 1, n plus equal to 1. Okay. So similarly, let's see one more type of pattern. So this is also important. Reverse triangle. Reverse triangle. So let us say reverse star triangle. Okay. So what we need to print is, I'll give some time for you guys. So think about the logic and come up with your answers. So the triangle should be like this. So take the number of rows as 6. You need to print 6 rows. Okay. So first row you have to print 6 stars, right? Second row 5. Third row you have to print 4. So 3, 2, 1. Okay. So this is your reverse triangle, right? Inverted triangle, or you can call it as inverted triangle. Right. So can anyone tell me? So obviously first row you have to print 6 values, right? 6 stars. So what is your rows value? You can start with rows as 6 or 7, up to you. Suppose if you start with rows count as 6, the range value should start from 6 plus 1, correct? So the range value should start from 6 plus 1. So for I in range, so you have to start the row value from right. So 7. Then you have to go in the decremented order. So here you have to start printing in the reverse order, right? So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 in that order you have to go. Yeah. Yes. So few people, Vina is given not much difficult here. Let us try this. Okay. So here again, as I told you, you can do it using 2 loops also, single loop also, both are fine. So don't worry about how many loops you're using for pattern problems. It's not an issue. So this, I think, again, last session we discussed about this kind of concatenation. I mean, the multiplication of star based on the range, right? So for I in range, so n value is 6 here, going in the reverse direction. Every time we are multiplying. Okay. So this also we have seen last time. Okay, this also we have seen. Okay, so now based on this hint, let us solve bit advanced one. So I hope all of you remember this. So it was like kind of a revision only. Okay. Yeah, so this is also fine. Okay. So both the logics work fine. Here he is using start, stop, and step counter. Here we are not using. We are using only from range 0 to 6. And every time we are doing 6 minus 6. So both are valid region. And suppose if you don't understand this, you can stick to the 2 loop technique. Here, this one is done using 2 loops. Correct. So Rita is done using 2 loops. So same logic with the 2 loops. For j in range I, up to that particular value 6, we are printing, then minus 1, 5. So any one logic you should remember, right? So hope you are already having good knowledge about it. Now, based on this, let us solve bit advanced problem. You can take your time, 5 minutes, then think about the logic, analyze yourself. Okay. So what I want now is I want two triangles basically. This is again two triangle patterns also they will give two triangle pattern problem. So you can explore advanced problems also later on. But based on this hint, try it how to do it. Okay. So what I want is this one. So this is one right angle triangle, right? So in the same order, so I think how many rows I'm printing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So after 5 rows, I want to go in the reverse direction. So after 5, again, I want to print this fourth row in the reverse direction. So that means whatever I printed in the fourth row in the upper triangle, the downward triangle also I have to repeat. So now this is the third row. Again, print that as it is. Okay, then 2, then 1. So hope you are able to visualize this triangle. So this is come something like this, correct or not? Okay. So this is what kind of triangle? Is it a triangle or not? So inverted triangle also you can call or triangle made up of two separate patterns, right? So one is a upper triangle. This one is the upper portion. Then this is a lower portion. Okay. So obviously you need to use minimum how many? 2, 3 loops you have to use, right? So how you want to use it? Do you want to use it single loop or two loops? Whatever you want to do it, no problem. But you should get exactly the same kind of output. So try it for 2 minutes. Yeah. Pretty few people typed. Mm. So how many rows we are printing for the upper triangle? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So obviously your row count should be at least 6 so that you can print up to 5. So that's why here both of them are taken up to 6, 1 to 6. Correct. Then after that, they are printing the upper triangle using single loop. So very good. So same problem with a bit difference in the printing. So you should better add some space here so that it looks neat. Okay. So same question, right? So here we use the single loop. Now you can see visualize it. So for I in range 1 to 6, this is same thing concat multiplication, so which we have done already. But this is the second logic. So here why they're starting from 2? Can anyone tell me? So there was no link sent even after registering for some of my friends. Is it? Just wait. Can you just forward this one? Whatever I posted in the chat box. So Abdul has explained after upper triangle only 4 rows. So range should start from 2 to 6. Correct. So hope you understood here. So why is starting from 2? Because after upper triangle, next set of values should next loop should only start from, right, printing 4 values. So that's why we are for I in range 2, 2 to 6 we are going. So first, because it's already printed by the upper triangle, so it need not to be printed again from the lower triangle, right? So try to explore more problems based on 2 triangle patterns. Okay. So the same question you can reverse it and in the reverse order. That means it, like a mirror image. Okay, something like this. That means you have to start printing this star from the right justified and go in the reverse direction. So we try to take that as assignment and do it. Okay. So what is the question? You have to start printing from this order, right? In this order, you have to go, right? Like this, you have to print. So obviously, here again, you need to add the extra spaces. Here also, you need to add the extra spaces. So same problem which I discussed previously, like here, this one. So you can take this problem as the reference and you can try to implement that. Of 1, 2, 3, we have to print star and the same logic, bit modification you can do. So you have to get in the reverse order. So kind of pattern problems you'll be able to crack no matter what they give. So only thing is you should understand how many spaces we need to print, what is that number I have to print, and just a modification in the same loop. The variables only matters here. Now, so one last pattern problem, which is called as a, sometimes they call it as YUM pattern, or also known as a pant pattern. Okay, so they also call it as a pant pattern or YUM pattern. Okay, so it's a bit tricky one. So let's see. Those who have idea that can be, those can try to do it. It is an assignment question, so try to do it on your own. I'll try to add this question in the model. Under loop problem, I'll add this question. Okay, once the session is over, make a note of this. Try to practice there directly. Okay, so hope you understood. The shape of this is coming just like, yum. So here, then there is some gap here. And then it goes on like this, right? So we have to print yum pattern, which is a yum number pattern. So what you are observing here is after printing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the same value should repeat here. You are printing in this direction, then in the reverse direction, you have to print. Okay, in this order 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then in the next row, only 5, 4, 3, 2, add extra spaces here. Then 5, 4, 3, 2. So 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 5, 4. In the reverse direction, you have to print. Okay, so this is called a yum pattern. So try to see what logic suits best for this, how many loops you want to use. It's your own idea. So I'll add this question in model. So try to solve it after the session. Understood now? M pattern. This is also a bit tricky. So similarly, they'll give alphabet pattern also based on the M. So that means instead of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you will be having something like this. A, B, C, D, Then again, reverse A, D, C, B, A. Then in the next row, A, B, C, D, then D, C, B, A. Same pattern with just instead of number, you are printing the alphabets. So these are the bit advanced problems compared to what you solved in the session, right? So try to do these problems. Okay. So the two triangle pattern can you explain again from the second formula? Okay, this one. So what is happening here? Suppose if you take one. So if you take one, what is happening here? So same row. See here, you already printed this row using the first pattern or first for loop, right? So same row you are getting printed again. So it is getting repeated, right? So we should not print the same row again. So that's why we are starting it from 2. So if we start from 2, what happens is it will only print the 4 rows, right? So that means for I in range 2, so 6 minus I, 6 minus 2 is 6 minus 2 is how much? 4. So that means it will only print 4 values. So 4 stars it will print, correct? So in that way, you have to understand concatenation is happening. So hope you understood, Vasu. So M pattern all or also known as pan pattern. So try to do it. Right. So in the last session, this was I repeated. Okay. We had started sets, right? Not sets, sorry. List. I think we just introduction we did. I think. Okay. So before going to the list, I think I need to cover some of the basics again on how to read the input output because many students still making mistakes in that. Okay, so let us see a few more examples based on how to use the input function. So basic input function, all of you already know it. Even split also you know it. Let us test your knowledge. So I want the quick answers. How many of you know? I want the answers, whatever you practiced, right? So very quick answers I want. So whatever I'm typing on the screen, based on that, I will try to analyze the code and guess the output. Okay, quickly, what will be the output of this code? When I print variable dot split x. Okay, quick. Well, only welcome. Okay, only welcome. Only welcome. Fine. So obviously you know the split function. Okay. So see, most of the answers were welcome. Then later on, I think they took some time. Ritik took some time, right? So basically, it is default splitting based on the space, right? So it is splitting all the input string wherever the space is there. It is splitting and converting that into string of list. So it is called as a list. So whenever you see square bracket, right? Whenever you see square bracket, it is called as a list. Right? So here the square bracket you are saying, right? So this is called as a list. Okay, now welcome to great Python programming session. Same code I'm a bit modifying. Now quickly answer. What is the output? So the same code. Come 3 to 3. Great. Okay. 1 minute time I can give you. Yeah. For those who already learned split, they should be knowing these different ways of doing the split operation. Split with 3 spaces. Okay. So that's why I say my suggestions whenever you explore any function in Python or in any language, first go to the documentation page and see what is the syntax of split. Okay. What is the syntax of split? So let us execute this. Now you can understand why it is giving me the output like this. Welcome to grid, then Python programming session. So what is happening here? So let us change it to 2. Now what happened? Welcome to welcome is a different string, 2 is a different string, and grid Python programming session is a different string. So based on the number of split that you want to do. So that's why always a good way of learning is split function in Python syntax, right? The syntax you should give the importance always. So sometimes I won't mention, but you guys need to explore the syntax. So what is the syntax of split function? So string dot split separator comma max split. So what is a max split here? It is an optional value. It's not mandatory. Specifies how many splits to do. Default value is -1, which is all occurrences. That means how many strings you have, it will apply to everything. But if you manually mention the value, it will only give the strings up to that value. So 2 means starting from 0th index. So 0, 1, 2. So it is converting the entire string into 3 values, 3 separate values. So like this, you should be able to do the things. Now, one more modification I'm going to do. Observe carefully. Not right. Okay, sorry. Here I will mention the characters. What could be the possible output? Anyone? No one? So observe what happened. Now the splitting character that I mentioned is at, right? So at the space up to that particular at, the value is getting splitted right here. So at this particular point, WL is one string. After that, come to GRI, that is another string because we are splitting up to that point. Then it is a third string, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So then the third string is Python program. But you see what is happening after that, where this is not getting considered. Why this last it is not getting considered? Because the total number of split values is only 4. Though there is a split character which we mentioned as at symbol, it is not getting recognized. The reason is the maximum split value is 4 only, so it is considered as a normal character. So like this, conditions will be there. So you guys need to carefully select the split value, split condition, and apply whatever the logic that you want to apply on the question, right? So hope you got an idea here. So ing at session is considered as a single string. Okay. So like that, what else you learned? How to suppose how to read the multiple values. Suppose name, age, phone number, marks, right? So when I mention like this, so how does the compiler understand so how many values I'm entering? Suppose I'll enter right. So what is the error I'm getting here? Value error. Too many values to unpack. Expected is 4. That means there are 4 variables, but I am trying to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each word is considered as a separate value, right? So only 4 strings I have to enter on the screen, but whereas I've entered 5 values. So and this is called as a value error. So make sure that you don't do this kind of mistake. Okay. So now to overcome this, you can make input dot split also fine. But what is the problem here? Let's see whether it works or not. So this is my phone number. These are the marks. Here also you'll get the same error because even though by default the input will split based on the space only, right? So the problem here is the number of variables that you want to store, right? So if you are expecting 4 variables, you need to enter 4 values only. But here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values I have entered on the screen, so that this also doesn't work, right? So to overcome this, there are a lot of other ways are there. So let's see one by one. Yes, mention special character. I'll say now. Okay, so what I want to do is in marks. Okay, now tell me what happened. I'm getting the output, but though it is not a correct output, it is still solving my error. So what is the way it is solving? First variable name is taken Arun, right? Second variable age is taken Kumar. Then third value CK is stored in phone number. So actually in phone number, I have to store phone number value, but here it is storing the string values as a phone number, that is CK. Then whatever the remaining value I'm entering, that it is converting into a list, correct or not? So when you add a last variable star, so what does it do is how many values that are left out, it will convert all those values into a list. So let us say, so I'll type something. So I hope you understood. So this is the 1, 2, 3 up to here. It's fine. So up to here, we got the variable values. But after that, whatever we enter here from here, that is getting converted into a list. So this is the way you can, the remaining values, you can make it and put it under one particular variable, that is marks. Suppose if I just print marks of 2, now tell me your answer. Okay, I'll enter, let us enter phone number here. Then marks I'll enter 890. Then again I'll enter some more values. So when I enter the output, what will be the value of marks of 2? Can anyone tell me? So here, since it is converting it into a list, what will be marks of 2? Okay, 4, 5, 6, 4. Some people are telling. So let us see. So why 4, 5, 6, 4? So this is first variable name, age, phone number, right? phone number, but I'm not printing marks. I'm printing in that marks, I'm printing the second value. So this is 0, 1, 2. So second value is 4564. That's why it is getting printed as 4564. So like this, you should be careful when you are doing multiple input reading. Okay. So similarly, you have in math module. I hope all of you are already using it. Sometimes for some problems, you might require math module. So you can use a math module as and when you require. This is a simple way of importing the math. Suppose if you don't want to use math for every time to apply that inbuilt function, so you can write something like this: from math import, right? From math import pi. So let us print this. So this is also works same. So here I need not to type every time math.py. Instead, I will directly write pi, because what I'm mentioning here, from math import only pi. That means it will only import pi value. In general, if you write import math, it will import all the functions that are supported by the math library. So for example, if I want to print factorial of a given number, right? So there is an inbuilt function in Python to do that. So here directly I'm getting 120 as the answer, because this is the inbuilt function supported by math library. Similarly, if I want to print floor and seal value. So what is floor and seal value? Can anyone tell me? What is seal of 2.6? What is seal of 2.6? Okay, right. So seal means the next nearest value it will print it. That is nearest value for 2.6 is 3. So it is going up to that particular number. 1 minute. Yeah. So similarly, what is floor? So if I print 4, so the left side, the nearest value, it will try to print. So you can use these libraries, explore how many functions are there in the math library, right? So for example, math dot, there is a GCD function. So suppose I want to know the GCD of 4, 12, right? So what is that value I'm getting? 4. So like this, you have a lot of supported functions. So how to learn basically based on the hint that I'm giving. So you can explore in Google Python math model library. You can go to the official documentation. This is the official documentation of the Python, right? So always learn from the official documentation. So you'll get a much more clarity, right? So these are all the supported functions. A lot of functions will be there. So just don't think whatever, say for logarithmic, you can use this log function, right? So in simple terms, W3 schools, many people are learning. So you can use this slide. It's a very good site for the beginners. So these are all the math libraries which you can apply based on your question. Power function you might have used, right? Okay. Okay. Slicing is a very important feature in Python. So give careful attention. So let me import a image. Okay. Right. So all of you know the indexing system in the list, right? In the array also you learned indexing. So in Python, there are two types of indexing. That is positive indexing that is equal to the what you have seen in the arrays. So which starts from 0, goes in the incremented order 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that order. But Python also supports the negative indexing. That means you can access the elements from the reverse, from the right side also, right? So the right side, if you want to access from the array, the first value that need to be accessed is -1. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, in that order it will go, right? So two types of indexing Python supports, right? So that is called as slicing. This concept is called as slicing. Okay, so let us see quickly. Those who have already learned it, try to respond quickly. So what is the syntax of slicing? Okay, so syntax, if you want me to tell you first. So whatever the value you want to access from the string or array, you have to mention the array name, right? Followed by array name, followed by start index and end index. Okay. So start index and end index. Start index means including that starting value. End index means excluding that ending value. So just like what we saw in the previously in the loop also. So start colon end, that is the syntax. Okay. So here, so string is my variable where I have the value grit. So that array I am using. So let me mention the start value as 1, then end value as 4. So what is output I'm getting here? RIE. So why I'm getting RIE? So you know the index starts from 0. By default, it is a positive direction. I mean, in the incremented order, it will go. So first value 0, 1. First position, what is there? R. Then second position I. Third position E. Right. Then fourth position is T. But we are not printing T because end index is excluded. So please remember this. End index is excluded. Start indexes included. Right. Now based on this end. Quickly, I want the answers from you. So based on the negative index, okay. Tell me what is the output of this print statement. Whatever I've typed here. Pranav, RI, Dwarka, RI. So most of you are giving RI. Some people are giving RIE. Okay. So negative index means what I told you. So do we start from -4 to -2 or how does it work basically? So how to do this kind of problem solving is first write down the string, then apply the indexing of the this particular slicing rule. So let us try to do it. So what is my string? G R I E T, right? So GRIT is my string. So from the reverse direction, since there is a negative indexing mentioned here, so start writing the negative index starting from the right side. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Correct. Now, same rule what we applied for the this 1 to 4, same rule you can apply from the negative index also. So what is the starting index that I have to include? -4. So what is -4 value here? R. So R is included. Then you have to go in the incremented order, not in the reverse direction, in the right direction only you have to go, right? So up to -2 I have to. So what is the next value? -3 Ri. So Ri we are printing, but we are not printing this -2 because that is the ending index. So don't think we will be printing from this way. So many people get confused when they talk about negative index. So here also you go in the positive direction only. I mean the left to right only will go, but you consider the negative values, right? So negative values you are going to consider. So excluding this, including this, right? So try to practice, definitely you'll get a much more clarity. Now, what happens? Okay, I'll take a different cell. So what happens if I don't mention, the starting index? What happens if I don't mention the starting index? Vasavi is telling 0. Quick answers I want, because if you practice, you should be able to tell them quickly. Okay. So by default, it always takes from 0. Okay. So here I'm getting GRI because very good. So most of you done good practice. Krishik is still learning. GRIE is telling. Okay. So try to see the syntax carefully. So 0, 1, 2. So what is 0? G, 1 is R, I is 2, 3 is excluded. So E is not considered. Right. Similarly, what happens if I don't include the end index? So what is my starting index? 2. That means I'm going to print from I. Since end index is not mentioned, so it will print up to the end. Correct? Up to the end. Now, Python also supports double slicing. We also call it as double slicing. Okay, for example, let me take a different string. Let us take our string name as good vibes only. Okay, now I want to print str of 2 colon 9 colon. Okay. So those who practiced it, can anyone tell me what is this double slicing? That means double slicing involves using 2 colons. Step value. Yeah, think about it. Okay, or else let us do one thing. Those who don't know. Okay, I have executed it. So see the output and see, analyze the code, what is happening. Why it is printing OVE. Yes. So why it is printing OVE? Yeah, so Geeta has got it right. Okay, prints every third element, correct? So it is similar to your for loop. Somebody suggested. So it is similar to your for loop. Start index, which is 2. So 0, 1, 2. Then step is 3. That means from 2, every third character you have to print. That means here O you have printed. What is the third character? From including that position, right? So 1, 2, 3. So that means third value is V. So we are printing V. Then again from V, every third character. 1, 2, 3, E. So we printed. But tell me why we stopped after that? Because this is the end index. So end index is 9 means whatever the string might be, it will only try to print up to that ninth character, whatever the condition also you applied. So 0, 1, 2, 3, including space, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So after s, whatever comes, we are not going to consider. So understood? So you can use slicing using 2 columns, including the step counter. So here, what is 3? 3 is a step counter. Okay, so that means from that position, print every third character. Okay, right. Now, similarly, we have a lot of basically uh, all this slicing concept is applied on the strings only. So you should know string functions. Okay. So let us take 2 strings. A lot of string functions you might be needing. So my personal suggestion is try to practice strings thoroughly because it makes your job a bit easier, like how it did in the pattern printing. So if you know this, tricks and how to apply the functions or multiplication, concatenation, joining the 2 strings, so you'll be getting a lot of problems. You can solve it in a simpler way. Okay. So here what we are doing. So there is a upper function. So for using the string function, you need not to import any library, right? That is my suggestion. So no need of importing any library to do string operations, right? So they are all by default, they are inbuilt. Similarly, suppose what I want to do is b dot replace. Okay. So I want to replace Python, for example. So what happened here? So a dot upper, it is converting into uppercase. Here b dot replace. For this b string, right? B dot replace means for that B string, I want to replace two parameters I passed this word, Python word with Java. So that's why the string got updated. We like coding in Java. So what happened here is the Python is replaced with Java. So let us print, after this, let us print B. So can anyone tell me what is the value of B here after replacing? Now I am trying to print B. Does it print the new version? Okay. Naina is telling we like coding. Samuel is telling same as the original. Abdul is telling no. Krushik new version. Abdul Mutalib no original. We like coding in Python, Java. Okay. So we are trying to print only V here. It will not update. See, there are different variety of answers, right? So let us try to print. So what is the output I got? We like coding in Python only. So now what do you understand by this? What do you understand by this? It is local to that statement. Very good. So please, this is a very important interview question. Does strings change the original string? I mean, string functions change the original string, right? No. So string operations, string functions always print the new string data without affecting the original string. So this is a very important point. So string functions won't change the original string. Whatever the operation you are applying, it will always return the new string, right? So please remember this point. It always returns the new string. Okay. Now, how many such string functions are there? That is the next question, right? So even you can't remember every time. So first job is to keep practicing the string function. So in I'll share you this link. All of you store this link. Okay. String methods in Python. So here you will get neatly the list of the most supported Python string functions. So if you know this much also more than enough, right? So let us go through this from this directly. So what is the first one? Capitalize, right? So it is similar to your uppercase. So it will capitalize the entire sentence. Okay. Python strings. So here string methods. This is a very important function. Is this count function, right? So many people use this. So what is this count function? The count method returns the number of times the specified value appears in the string. Okay. So you can try it and check how many times the count apple in this string is appearing twice. Correct. So go through this, definitely you will understand. So I need not to explain one by one for every string function because there are a lot of string functions. We can't cover our syllabus if I keep explaining all the functions one by one. Okay, so here this is the important function again, ends with. So what is this ends with? So what we are checking whether the string ends with the dot, right? So that means it is true. So it is returning the true or false case. For example, let us change this. right? So here we are checking whether the string ends with great, condition is true. So what if I mention the capital GRIT, does it work? Now, this is a very important point, guys. So every string operation is a case sensitive. So you should be very careful about whether you are using uppercase or lowercase. And similarly, for tomorrow's assessment also, suppose if I say print some value, suppose print GRIT. This is, for example, if I say this is grid, if I want output like this means you should type it exactly like this. Suppose if you miss T small case and GRIT, if you write small case, you won't match your test case. So please note down this point. Tomorrow's assessment, all the programs will be case sensitive. Generally for your practice problems, sometimes you are getting those kind of confusion. Sometimes it accepts even though it is not exactly. Suppose somebody asked me, sir, in your input you have given 6 spaces, for example, like this. But still, if I add only one space also, it is printing. It is matching the test case because my test cases I didn't give strict conditions. So since you are practicing, I thought okay, space and uppercase, lowercase, not an issue. But for every assessment or even if you're trying in other platforms also, they will apply case sensitiveness. So number of spaces should exactly match the character should exactly match. If it is uppercase, it has to be uppercase. So please remember that point for tomorrow's assessment. Okay, understood? So similarly, I'll just mention what are the uh, some of the important string function you should know to do the problem solving. At least go and read about those functions, right? So count, I hope you know, it will basically count the number of characters in the or number of words in the string, right? Find, format, index. Index is very important. It is most used, widely used. So what is ALNum? Returns true if all characters in the strings are alphanumeric. Alphanumeric means, so what is output of this code? Can anyone tell me? Check if the characters in the text are alphanumeric. So basically it should be a combination of alphabet and as well as the numbers, right? Then ASCII characters if they are there is decimal, right? If it checks if the string is decimal, is digit. This is also most widely used. So let me do one thing. I'll just keep highlighting on the functions, whatever you need to know. So you guys make a note of this, right? So alnum is decimal, is digit, is lower, is numeric, right? Join is the most important. Let us explore some problems based on that. So join is numeric, is lower, is digit, is decimal, is alnum, right? Then okay, what does join do basically? Even last session, I think I just introduced about this. So it is basically joining every, you see, this is a tuple basically, joining each word in the tuple with hash, right? After the tuple, it is joining with hash. So you can join the values. So here you see, basically strings, it is updating with the new value. So after name, you are printing test my separator dot join dictionary, my dictionary, right? So this is basically dictionary concept. You can apply the same join for the strings also. I will explain with some one or two problems after this, right? Then similarly, lower is required. Replace is very important, right? Replace is very important. Split is important, as you already seen. Strip, I already told you. Strip basically removes the unwanted characters. Uppercase is required. So remaining thing you can ignore as of now. But for the tomorrow's for assessment or day after tomorrow's assessment, you might need one of these string functions to understand the question and solve the problem. So once again, I'll repeat. Count you might require, ends with you might require, right? Index is alpha numeric, right? Is decimal, is digit, is lower, right? Then is upper, join, lower, replace, then split and strip. So this much, if you practice, that is more than enough. So you need not to directly apply on that particular function and print it. You can store it in another variable also. So based on the requirement, you can apply these functions. Okay, string functions. I hope you got some clarity, which are the important string functions, right? So you can revise from here also directly. So I was talking about join, right? So let us do some sample problem based on join. Okay. So let us read some value. Then I want to store that in another array using split function. Okay. By default, based on space. So let us print. So what is happening here? By default, it is creating a string of list. Basically, each word is considered as a separate. I mean, each word is separated with the index, right? This is we are seeing. So what I want to do here is, let me take. Okay, so I'm applying join function here. Okay. Let us print what be the possible. Okay, can anyone guess what could be the possible output here? I've used join function, slicing concept, input function, split function all together. Something I'm trying to do here. So try to analyze the code and check what could be the possible output. EYH. Okay. By all. By hello. Okay. So I have to enter the sentence, right? Hello, guys. Great. So this is my input. Now this is my input. What will happen? So is there any change basically? Many of you are trying to think just because we are trying to join. What is happening here? Are we just not printing the same value? py.join array of 0:1. Correct? Then we are printing that sentence. So we just extracted zeroth indexed string from the main list, correct? So without concatenating, we didn't concatenate. Why? What is the reason? Because the index what we are telling is 1 here. So let me change this 1 to -1. Now see what is happening. Now analyze, because it's a bit tricky to understand. So analyze what is happening. Let me remove this print statement. Okay. Now what is happening? So to understand this, that's why I asked you guys. No one is talking about syntax of join, right? So what is the syntax of join function in Python? So this is how we need to learn. Before using it, first always explore. See, sometimes in website you might not get the correct information. official documentation. So you should always go and check the official documentation. So what is telling? Returns a string made from the elements of an iterable, right? So basically what they're telling is it should be an iterable value. Iterable means what? Which you can keep, accessing one by one, right? So for example, what it is doing, the separator between the elements in the string providing this method. So there is a join function for which they have passed the iterable, which is a list. Iterable means which you can access based on the index. So A, B, C, which are individual values, correct? What we are telling the compiler is combine all of them without any space. So that's why output we are getting is ABC. Similarly, here also dictionary is unordered dictionary. So we will get to know this. So here also ACB we are getting. Here we are combining with hyphen A minus B minus C using the hyphen operator, string separator. So basically it is accepting an iterable, right? But I am not directly using like them, correct? So I have done a bit modification here. Instead of directly passing the array, correct? So let me remove everything. Just pass the array. Now what happened? Also, is there any change or are you getting the same output? Okay, I'll take another sentence. Sentence 2 equal to, here we'll take some number, dot join array. Let us print sentence 2. Okay, now observe carefully. To see the difference between this string and this string. So is there any change actually? If I add -1 also, there is no change. Colon minus, right? So after every string, it is updating py for the first string. For the second string, it is updating 12 after every word in the string, right? So hello, after hello, we are getting py and 12. Okay, so let us modify like this. The second one, so instead of mentioning directly array name, so for example, okay, now tell me what happened. First string is remaining same as it is. What happened with the second string? So what we are telling the compiler is we are passing you the iterator. Iterable is the array, but are we passing the entire iterator? No. What we are passing? Okay, Surya Teja is telling grid. So tell me why it is only considering grid? Because we told the compiler whatever the user enters from the screen from the slicing concept. So you understood the slicing, right? So what is slicing? The -1th index will be considered, right? So since we mentioned array of -1, so what is my last string here? Grid. So whatever the join it wants to do, it is only doing for this particular word, which is grid, right? But for the first thing, there is no such condition as such, right? Same thing, if I don't mention the first index, there won't be any change. The reason is, so here what happened, tell me. Hello, py guys, py welcome, py2. See, after 2, I'm not getting this one. Tell me why. It is not concatenating with grit. The reason is go up to -1. Now, based on this hint, so what you understood? So just like, Okay, so this is -1, -2, -3, -4, and -1, correct? So what we are telling in here is go from 0 up to -1, correct? So that means it is not concatenating with the grid. So it is ignoring -1. But here what we are telling the same difference instead of colon, if I mention -1, it is only considering the last word. So for this particular example, every string word is considered as a index. So 0th index, first index, second, third, and fourth. So let us see if I mention here as I think it will give the same output. Yeah. Now see for the second one, which one it is considering? X include, Y doesn't. Yes. So it is considering only welcome because the index value which I mentioned is 2. So that means 0, 1, 2. Second index is welcome. So hope you understood how to use join based on your requirement. You have any doubt in this join function? Yes, anyone? No. Output of sentence. You mean this first one, right? So first one, what we are telling is we are starting from the first word and going up to -1. So if you consider as the negative index, see this grid is -1, 2 is -2, welcome is -3, guys is -4, and hello is -5. Correct or not? So what we're telling the compiler is we are going up to -1, excluding -1. So start and end index, right? So whatever the end index you mentioned, that is not included. So we are going from hello to welcome to, excluding this grid. Second sentence. Okay. So first sentence, I hope understood. What is the slicing syntax? You already know, including start index, excluding end index, right? So this only initially I told you. End index is included, start index is included. So whether it is positive index or negative index doesn't matter. But whatever you mention at the end, that won't be considered. So similar operation for the second one, the sentence. What we have mentioned is array of 2 without any index or slicing concept. So it is becoming like a normal array, right? So array starts from 0th index. So 0th index we have hello. First index we have guys. Second index we have welcome. So it is only joining 12 with this welcome for each character, right? For each character. So after W 12, after E 12, after L 12, right? But the same thing here, it is not concatenating with each character. The reason is we are using slicing concept. We are telling the compiler join for each word, but here we are telling for join each character in the string. Here we are telling join for each word in the string. Here we are telling for each character in the string. So hope you understood all that. So try to practice, try to change the values. Definitely you will get much more clarity. Okay, now what we are doing? Same slicing. What it is doing? Reverse operation. So this is a shortcut for printing the reverse of any particular string, right? So two double colons and end with minus, right? So it will print the values in the reverse direction. So sometimes you require this, okay? Double slicing, what is your doubt? So 2 is the starting index, 3 is the step counter, 9 is the ending index. That means up to the ninth index only we are considering it as a string, remaining we are ignoring. Okay, so step counter. Starting from second value, we are printing. So O is printed, then after O, 1, 2, 3. Third value, every third value we have to print. So V is printed. Again from V, the third value, I, B, E, E is printed. Then after that, we are stopping it because this is the last up to that index only we can take. See, before E, the index will be 0 to 8. So that means ninth index we should not consider. This is the ending index value. 9 is the ending index value, excluding 9 up to 8. Understood? Okay, now, so different ways of splitting I was talking. Suppose if you want to print the same thing, so how to create list, all of you understood, right? Okay, so what we are doing here, printing the list in the reverse order. So here we applied on the string, here we are applying on the list. So 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 is my original data. And here, if I mention the slicing concept, 2 colons minus 1 means that is called as a reverse operation. So it is printing all the values in the reverse direction. So when we should use round in print function. Round basically like if you want to move it to the next digit or the nearest digit, right? So explore the documentation round function, you'll get much more clarity. Okay, so for example, same thing. I want to read from the user, right? So what is that I told you? Map function last session I discussed. What is map does is it converts based on your required data type. Then you have to mention the input function. Now what I want is enter the data separated by comma. Okay, comma operator. Right after this, what I want to do is then split. Okay, so let me check whether it works or not. Let us print the number. Right, so we are not getting any output. So can anyone tell me what is happening here? Why I'm getting some kind of map object? Yes, so that's what I wanted. So what is my requirement? Enter the data separated by comma operator. So in the split function, what is that I have to mention? The character, comma character, I have to mention it. Okay. Still, we are not getting the output. So can anyone tell me why? The map function you already know. Map is used to read the data from the user in your required format. So here what I'm telling the user is read the data and convert that into integer data, right? So here int I mentioned input dot split. So how to get the original data that I'm reading? Right. So whenever you want to do this kind of readings, so test case you need to understand. Here I want to read the data with space 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. So obviously you require comma operator, split function and all. But I want to store them in array, right? So there is a function called as list, right? Now what is it doing overall in a single line? We are doing first map will read the data into the integer format separated by comma. Then entire thing is converted into a list. Okay. Now suppose I don't want to use list. What is the simple thing? Can I write like this? Does it work? Why it is not going to work? Because we are using map, right? So if you don't want to use map, then simple way is split based on the comma. Right, so this is the normal way, right? But you understood the problem. If I enter 100 values, I have to write the 100 variables. So obviously, it is not going to be a easy way to read the data into the list from the user. So that's why we have a list function which will read the data and uh, puts them into a particular array type of syntax, right? Now, there is to minimize this operation. So you understood, right? I have to use list, map, and all those things. So it is a time consuming process. So there is a one more important function is there. You can explore later on. So in coming sessions, I'll go and discuss in detail about this eval function. No, map function you can use with anything, right? So not only with the list, right? So you can read the documentation again. When you get these doubts now, map function in Python, what is the syntax? Not only with the list. So what is a map function? Iterable, any iterator. So string is iterator, list is iterator. So note down this word iterator. Python, they use this term a lot of times. Iterable means anything that can be accessed based on the index. So you can access string based on the index, array based on the index, list based on the index, then set, dictionary, all these things you can access with the index, right? So iterable means anything. So you can pass one or more iterable to the map function. So not only with the list. Okay. Now, eval function I was talking, right? So the same reading I will do using eval function. So understand here what I'm doing. So what is happening in this case? Can anyone tell me after reading this? Right? So eval. So it minimized all my job, right? Whether I'm entering comma, space, it is not bothered. So let me enter with space. Right? So eval function is exactly reverse. It won't accept any space, correct? Suppose if you want to enter comma separated value, you can directly use the eval function. Yes, when I think he knows about tuple. So by default, it converts the input data into tuple. Whereas normal list, if you want to do, you have to mention again list of eval. So now you are getting the output in the form of list. But you saw we avoided map, int, then again mentioning dot split, comma. So this entire thing is avoided with the help of eval function. So what is eval function basically? It's a very powerful function. So whatever you are entering, it tries to evaluate. The eval function evaluates the specified expression. If the expression is a legal, as long as it is legal, right? So it is optional. So as of now, ignore this global and local, just concentrate on this section. So expression is what? A string that will be evaluated as a Python code. So you can mention a valid code which can be recognized by the Python as a code. For example, you say print of 55. This is a valid expression, right? So what does it say? You are trying to print 55 on the screen. That you are storing it on X. Then when I'm writing eval of X, it is printing the output as 55. So basically it is understanding what is the meaning of this code, and internally it is converting based on the whatever you have typed. So let me print type of X. Understanding that it is a string, but it is not worried about what data type it is, correct? So eval is very powerful. Generally, people use it for reading the input data. Okay. In next session, I will talk in detail about eval because I think we're already late. Before I wind up, as I told for your assessment problems, assessment exam, there will be questions based on pattern problems, data types, basic operation, mathematical operations, right? Logical analysis, then string slicing, and list, basics of list, not in detail. I just want you guys to know the basics of list operations. So based on that information, spare me for 5 more minutes. I just want you guys to know some of the list operations. Okay, just 5 more minutes. We will wind up so that you can later on you can prepare for your exam. So for tomorrow's exam, no need to worry. All the questions will be very simple questions, but it will be conducted very strictly because we want to see how many really doing it honestly and how many actually have some knowledge from the past 5 sessions, how many actually grasped some knowledge from the sessions. Okay, so don't worry too much about the exam. Go with the confidence, try to do honestly, analyze yourself where you are lagging. We will discuss the problems, we will see, we will address your issues. Got it? But first job is to being obedient, being honest about your efforts, then improvising day by day. Okay, so let us see 1 or 2 examples based on list operations. So as I told, some questions you may require list. Okay. So the reverse of list you already saw, right or not? Suppose there is a simple way of, suppose I want to check. So what is the sorted function is doing? What is the sorted function is doing? This is again inbuilt operation, inbuilt list operation, which you can use directly. So basically it is sorting your list just by that using that function. So in the ascending order, yes or no? So we are checking whether the list is sorted or not. Then how will you generally access the list element? How will you access the list elements? Just like your array, correct? Suppose if your list is something like this. Okay. Suppose I want to find some of the elements in the list. So let us initially take the sum as 0. So for I in num, so that is array, right? So just like you do with the normal arrays, sum equal to, how do you write it? Plus equal to. So sum equal to sum plus I. So why I? Because I is accessing each index element of the list, right? And then let's print the sum of elements of the list, correct? So where is my answer in the subvariable? So what is the output I'm getting? 20. So 8 plus 4, 12, 13 plus 3, 16, 16 plus 4, 20. So this is how you can access the list element by using the name of the list. Now, so how many such list functions are there? Just like your string. So we saw string functions, right? So similarly, go to this link. I will forward in the chat box. Okay. So save this. You might require this list functions. Very, very important. You have to know all of them. There is no option. Whatever they are given here, you have to write, you have to practice all the questions. Right. What is this append function? Adds element at the end of the list. Clear means it will delete the list or empties the list. Copy means it will create another copy of the list. Count means how many number of elements are there with the specified value in the list. Extend. That means you are combining two lists, one in one list with another list. Index is a very basic operation. Return the index of the first element with the specified value. So this is a very powerful function. Suppose see here, it will returns what is the index of the mentioned value. Similarly, insert. If you want to insert the element at the particular position, you can see the insert function. So what does it do here? So see, this is a list with a string list. So apple, banana, cherry, here it is there. Insert one at one position, you are inserting orange. So you can see here, orange has appeared here. So similarly, what are the other two? Pop and remove. See, both of them look similar, but they are having a small difference. What is pop? Removes the elements at the specified position. Okay, specified position. So you have to mention what is the position of the element that you want to remove. Then what about remove function? Removes the item with a specified value. See, value is different and position is different. Here you are mentioning the index position. Here you are mentioning the value of the element, right? Similarly, reverse, we have already seen. Sort, we have already seen. So sort is used for sorting out the list. So can anyone tell me what is the sorting of this one? Because it is a string list, right? How does it sort this string list? How to store means based on the index, Madhu. Just like how you do it in normal array, according to the first element. Okay, very good. So if your string, if your list is a string consisting of strings, so by default it is in the alphabetical order, ASCII value. So first BMW you are printing, then Ford you are printing, then Volvo you are printing. Not based on the entire characters, only based on the first character of the index. So B, F, and W. Suppose now I'll add some other value here, GRIT. Okay, so now you see after B, then Ford, then G and Volvo, right? So no matter where is this value present in the list, it is always sorted based on the alphabetical position. So try to revise these functions. You may require these functions during the problem solving, especially append function. Append is basic one, right? So you have to mention the element A dot append B, add list to a list. That means you are adding one list to another list. Here you are adding values. So basically what happens with append? Does it add in between or in the end? So always append will add in the end. Okay. So append function will update the list in the end. Now, based on this list operations, from the next session onwards, we'll be doing the problem solving. So what do you mean by problem solving means? I will take some real-time question. I will try to solve that problem using list, string, slicing. We'll apply all these concepts during our problem solving. So up to now, whatever you saw is basically the syntaxes or the operations supported by the Python, right? So based on this information, from the next session onwards, you will take some real-time question, start doing the problem solving. So we will be having much interesting topics coming up in the next few sessions based on the list operations. Then we will see set, dictionary, and OOPS concept. We will move. So a lot of topics we need to cover. So we will go slow by one, and based on the topic, we will solve some problems. That is our main agenda, right? So problem solving, if you want to do, you should have all this knowledge about these functions, whatever I covered in today's session, right? So eval also, I will discuss few more examples how to use eval based on the requirement. Then map, a few more examples I'll show you, but you don't require those concepts for your assessment. For assessment, whatever I explained up to today's session, that is more than enough. So try to revise the problems and stick to the pattern, whatever I mentioned. So basic math operations, loops, conditional statements, list maybe you might have one or two questions based on list, then pattern problems, right? So based on this, try to revise the topics and confidently attend the assessment exam. Yes, all the questions will be story based. Story based means you have to understand what is the requirement and whether you require if condition or loop, or do you require slicing, do you require list. You have to analyze yourself. Okay, so simple questions only. They are all very simple questions, but understanding the question is a main agenda. You have to read the input constraint. What is the length I mentioned? What is the output condition? Right. So all the test cases will be hidden. Only sample test cases will be shown to you, so you won't be able to see and copy the test cases as it is. Some people are doing that also, so that we won't allow, right? So all the test cases will be hidden, only one or two test cases will be visible, and you can't come out of the screen. So it will be conducted in a secured browser, right? So you can't come out of the screen. So honestly, I'm expecting everyone should be able to do at least two problems in 1 hour. Okay, so I'll be happy if you are able to solve two problems. So with that confidence, try to attend the exam. Enjoy the process. So don't no need to get nervous. No one will be filtered based on this assessment, but over the duration we'll be conducting a lot of such assessment, and then one final assessment, as I told you, that will be the main assessment. So by attending this assessment, you will get to know what kind of questions you will get, and how to think and utilize the time based on the requirement. Okay, sir, in tomorrow exam, will theory questions will be asked, only programs, or read my message carefully, only coding problems, four problems. First question will be of 20 marks, next two questions will be of 50 marks, last question will be of 80 marks, right? So whatever you want to solve, you attempt that question first. So generally what your seniors will do is they will attempt the maximum marks question first, then they go for the smaller marks, right? So you, based on your knowledge, your confidence, you can do whatever you want, but don't waste too much time on a single question. Suppose if you're not able to crack the logic, switch to the question, different question, and try to submit that program, then come back to the old question which you are not able to solve. So like that, you have to plan your time in 1 hour, how to efficiently manage the problem solving. During problem solving, your time you need to know. No MCQs, only coding problems. No MCQs, only coding problems. MCQs we won't give in any exam. Filtering exam, we won't give any MCQs. But in company exams, during your placement, you will have MCQ questions. But in our training, no MCQs for any filtration exams. Okay. So as I mentioned, a lot of queries you are getting. Please use the Q&A forum. Many people are not posting anything. Every day I'm checking there to see if there is any doubt, but nobody is posting it. So you have to utilize the given feature and improve your knowledge. So if you don't have any doubt, I don't have any problem. But whatever doubt you are getting, please post there. In my free time, I will reply there directly to you guys. So no need to worry or fear, no feel fear about your doubts. Got it? Sample questions, Sai Shashank, this is not assignment, this is not internal exam, okay? This is a coding exam. So if I, one hint I can give is pattern problems. Another hint I can give is basic mathematical skill. Suppose for first year you solved a lot of programs, right? If condition, based on number system, you solved some problems, right? Perfect number, square number. So like that, you know, the mathematical rules you should know, your analytical skill you should know. So there is no fixed pattern, only topic names I can tell you. Are you providing these notes in Moodle? Santosh Tripoli. So I'm not providing any notes, Santosh. So you have to attend the session only, because many people think notes will be there, I'll do it later. So if you want to learn, attend my session. If you are a good self-learner, manage however you want to learn, you do it. I don't have any problem. Okay. So I think we are getting late. So start your preparation. We will see in tomorrow's exam. I'll also come and monitor every session carefully. Yes, all the test cases will be hidden except one or two. And there will be reduction in the few test cases. That means if you don't match that hidden test case, there will be some reduction in the marks based on that particular test case. Anyway, before the exam starts, I'll come and announce, so don't get panic. Come with enthusiasm. Take this as a good starting point for your career, and with good confidence take the exam. Okay, don't worry about how many problems you solved, why you couldn't solve. That is a later part, but attempting with honesty and getting to know how much knowledge I have is the first priority, right? So that you guys need to assess yourself based on tomorrow's exam. So with that, we'll see tomorrow. All the best. Okay, I'm winding up the session. Thank you.